the ERA, we consider that the business case for gender equity is enabling us to be able to contribute to achieving net zero. What we do is we ensure that there is efficient provision of energy, including the investment, specifically for renewables. So this is a really hotly contested space. It's a place where there are a lot of competition for good quality people. So to be as competitive as we possibly can, we need to ensure that we're offering good workplace conditions, and in particular focusing on women and making sure that they've got good opportunity to contribute in our workplace. One of the other things about the nature of the work that we do is that it is complex and it's technically challenging, and we really need a diverse and inclusive workplace that assists in fostering a culture that enables quality debate and ideas so that we can continue to contribute good analysis in the work that we do. And again, having a diversity of people means that we've got better capability of being able to do that kind of work. The other thing to add to that one is that we are operating, one of the mandates that we have is to ensure that we're looking after the long-term interests of consumers, and consumers are people. And so if you look like the people you're trying to serve, you're more likely to be able to understand them. And the last thing I wanted to say on that was that for me, actually addressing gender equity isn't just a business case. It's a matter of justice and ensuring that women and men both have an equal opportunity to participate and live full lives is absolutely fundamental for me. So my first step in addressing gender equity at the ERA was ensuring that we undertook regular pay equity audits. When we first started undertaking pay equity audits, we worked out that our major gap was at the top tier, and we have addressed that since, and we're now finding that our gender pay gap manifests most in the mid-tier and emerging leadership. So that's what where we're focusing our energies. Well, the first one I think would just be talking about diversity. Talking about diversity helps set an expectation across the organisation for all of us to look to try and be as inclusive as possible. It means that we've seen a lot of small changes and we've seen a reshaping of our culture. The second most important thing that we do in the ERA is to ensure that we have good work from home practices. We're a genuinely flexible workplace. We have a lot of availability for people to be able to choose the times and locations of the work that suits them, and we get a lot of feedback from people that this enables them to be able to balance their caring responsibilities with their work. And the other thing that we do that's particularly important at the ERA is we practice having strong conversations. So we have a workplace that has a culture of having a quality debate and discussions about the nature of the work itself. We contest ideas routinely. And I think this flows through into the discussions that we have about how work is organised, not just the work that we do. Being able to debate and contest ideas means that you're practiced at being able to give feedback about ideas, but also about the way in which your work is structured, which means that we're able to solve problems in our workplace and ensure that people have genuine access to it, no matter what their circumstances are. Well, we're very grateful to the government and their emphasis on gender equity throughout boards. Our board's terms came up, and so we went from a three-person board being dominated by men to a three-person board being dominated by women. Throughout the organisation, we've also made an effort to ensure that we had good talent pools at the senior tier. What this has meant is that we now have gender parity in the top tiers of the ERA, for which we're really proud, and we're focusing now on mid-tier. We have an organisation that's got 50% men and women throughout the whole of the organisation. So for me, my key personal learnings, I've worked out how disproportionate things that I do and say are as a CEO throughout the whole of the organisation. So my actions, my comments, my implicit biases, my approach to things has a really huge ripple effect throughout the organisation. So I am very conscious of how I use this superpower, and I make a point of doing things. I do the leaving loudly. I talk overtly and regularly about my caring responsibilities, even though they're not a standard family set of caring responsibilities. And I'm constantly checking my own language and behaviours and biases, and encouraging my team to help call me on this so that I can make sure that I'm continually learning and getting better all the time at how I come across, because it sets such a tone for the rest of the organisation. But it also helps to shape the culture, because asking regularly for feedback about my own personal behaviours means that I'm setting a tone that I have things to learn, that everyone has things to contribute, which means that we are practicing again how to have a genuine conversation about important things in our workplace.